you had earlier mentioned the differences between, or the similarities rather, between loneliness and signs of burnout, right? And I do think there are some things that do look alike, a certain level of disengagement, reluctance to participate in collaborative conversations or meetings or outings and get togethers. Those can absolutely look and present themselves in both experiences, the experience of burnout as well as the experience of loneliness. But I think that the difference here, as it relates to burnout maybe versus loneliness, is that with burnout, it begins to seep into other spaces of your functioning. So
Mhm.
you're not going to solely be burnt out at work and then go on your merry way and bebop through the rest of your life, right?
Mhm.
Um, Usually, if you see this more widespread presentation in terms of disengagement in professional spaces, as well as disengagement and isolation within personal spaces, it's more indicative of burnout versus loneliness, which is a subjective experience, can occur at work and you not necessarily feel lonely outside of work. And so that tends for me to be one of the signs. If you're noticing that there is a more widespread consistency in how you show up in both sides of your life, both personal and professional, it's likely more burnout. If you notice that it's specifically happening towards work, it's more likely to be loneliness.
Oh, I appreciate that breakdown, that cross reference. I feel like there should be a worksheet of comparison, like a feelings wheel.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
like a feelings wheel.
there's so many different um, elements, right, that we bring into our workday. Right?
Yeah.
We spend way more time at work than we do anywhere else. I mean, we spend more time oftentimes working than we do sleeping. So, in a lot of ways, I do find that there has to be, to your our initial point, the level of intentionality behind the way that you move. And if you are noticing that you are shying away from a certain level of visibility and connection with, whether that be with your peers or even with leadership, then there should be some level of some self-assessment and checking in with yourself to determine, okay, what's going on here, especially if that wasn't how you originally were showing up, right? If that was kind of like your baseline and you've been, more introverted as an example, and that's how you move through life all the time, well, that's a little bit different. But if you are more engaged and then over time you're finding yourself becoming more and more distant, that's definitely something to pay attention to as well.